Hi and welcome to the Timetable Software Introduction video. This video is going to go through and explain to you the basic features and functions of the Timetable program. Now this Timetable program was originally referred to as a Timetable Administration program. Now when you log into this Timetable program, you'll come to a screen like this. Now just to let you know that this program can be accessed also on handheld devices, either using an Android or iPhone operating system as well. Okay. Now when you log into this program, the very first thing you'll notice is up the top here it says that this program does not work with Microsoft Internet Explorer. Now it's not that it doesn't work with Internet Explorer, it's just that the graphics of the program do not show up as well as they would if you use Mozilla Firefox or Chrome. Okay, now we found that Mozilla Firefox is the best browser to use when using this program because it shows up all the details as the program was originally designed. Okay, but to see a list of all the different types of web browsers that you can use for the Timetable program, just go to your user manual and you'll see a list of compatible browsers there. Now let's start with the username. When you use a username, do not use usernames like admin or administrator because these usernames are commonly used by hackers to infiltrate your websites. Okay, the same thing goes with your password. Okay, passwords for this program can be used as numbers, symbols, uppercase and lowercase letters. So we advise all users when developing a password to use a combination of all of those. Okay, now this password here, it is using a combination of symbols, numbers, uppercase and lowercase letters to make it a little bit more secure and a little bit tougher for hackers to try to hack into your system. Okay, so let's log into the program. Okay, and what you see here is what we call the home screen. And at any time that you use the Timetable program, you can access this home screen by clicking on this little icon up here. Okay, now the very first section that you notice is what they call set up resources. In this area you can set up your classes. Okay, you set up your groups. And this groups section here is for when you have classes that maybe half the class is doing lab work while the other class is in the classroom. Okay. Facilities, this is where you set up your labs, classrooms, workshops, lecture theatres, etc. Okay, the trainer setup here is where you set up all your trainer or staff. Okay, and subject is where you set up all your subjects. Now in this part here, build view timetable. Okay, the build timetable takes you to the screen which we call the master timetable. This is where you start to schedule the different classes and trainers, okay, based on the facility and time and day. These next three here, class, facility and trainer timetables, once you develop your build timetable here, you can go into each one of these and look at the timetable for a specific class, for a specific facility and for a specific trainer. Okay. Now, one of the things that you'll find with this program is that you have three different user roles. You have an admin role, you have a trainer role, and you have a student role. Now, trainer role and student role only allows them to see these three here. They cannot access the resources, they cannot change the timetable, and they cannot make any adjustments to here. Okay. Now, in the admin area, this is where you set up your users. So this is where you go in to create your usernames and your passwords that you see on the login screen. Now in here is where we have our user roles. Now for this program we only have 3 user roles to keep it simple and effective for the users. Okay. Now the user roles are usually for the admin, which is the developer of the timetable. Okay, and we have one which is for staff and one which is for student access only. Okay. Now when you add in extra user roles, you'll only be allowed to use those 3 roles. Now to set up a database, now the database is actually the timetable. As you can see here, you see this one here, it says test. Okay, this is a timetable which we've called test. It's actually a timetable database which would be used when you're building the master timetable. Now what happens is under this section here, when you click on it, it would bring up all your different timetables, maybe semester 1, semester 2, semester 3. Okay, and you click on that and you click set, and what would happen then, it sets that specific timetable so that when you want to build a timetable or you want to view a class, facility or trainer timetable, you need to make sure you select your timetable database. Okay, now to set up these databases that you see here, you would do that in this section here. Now to make your timetable more associated with your business, instead of using the generic logo that of this one up here, you would then you'd upload your logo here. Now whatever logo you upload here is what you'll see when you print out these three trainer, facility and class timetables. Now the very last function here is to reset your database. Okay, now resetting your database, okay, when you've already selected your database here, and let's say that you're in the process of building your database in the master timetable and you make a lot of errors, or people keep changing it all the time, okay, and it's faster just to delete the database and start from scratch. You just do it from here. So you make sure you select your database, go through and click reset database. Now, one more note that I need to explain about the setup databases. Okay, the only time that you can set up a database is when you initially log in for the very first time. So make sure that you do not select a database. Okay, so when you log in, go straight to admin, go straight to setup databases, click on that screen, and that will allow you to set up any new databases that you want to use. Okay, so let's have a look at the master timetable section. Okay. Click on the build timetable and it brings you to the area to which you would build your timetable. Okay, as you can see here, our timetable runs from 7 o'clock right through to 9:30, which is typically the time frame used by most universities, colleges and schools, and any type of training organization. Okay, we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday as your choice. So whenever you want to create the timetable for a specific day, you just click on here like so. Okay, and as you can see here, down the side is where you have all your facilities that you originally set up in here. Okay, now these time frames are pretty much preset, okay, and they're broken into 15-minute blocks. Okay, now when you want to build a timetable, it's very straightforward. You click on the cell to which you want the timetable to start for that particular class. Okay, you select your subject, you select your group, you select your trainer, maybe you have 2 trainers for the same group, okay, and you select your class, okay, like this. Okay. And you click save. Now if you don't want to use a group, you just leave it blank like that. Okay, if you don't have a second trainer or don't have a second class being combined, okay, just leave it blank. Click on save, and here you go. Now as you notice that when we set up the classes, we use subject codes, okay, which is typically used in most university colleges. As you see here, GES is pretty much an acronym of the trainer's name, so it's his first name, middle name and surname. Okay, and there's the class name there. Okay, now as you just saw then, I actually moved the schedule. Okay, now pretty much the schedules, okay, work in 1 hour blocks. Okay, that's the minimum amount of time that you can schedule a class for. Okay, but if you want to schedule a class for more than 1 hour, you just scroll it along. Okay, now as you do this, it is automatically saved, so you don't have to click save or do anything. You just go through, and if you want to move the class to a different time, you just put your mouse button down and you just slide it across like that. Okay, or move it down, across, wherever you want. Now one thing that you will find is that when you're building your timetable, you will have what we call conflict. Okay, so let's try again. We want to put George, we want to put him down as Bachelor of Business, okay, and we click save, and voila, we have a conflict because George is already teaching this same class in the same time. Okay, so this will stop you from doing it. Now every now and then what you will find is if this screen pops up a few times, you'll find a little box that asks you to tick to stop this from popping up. Okay, do never ever click that box, okay, because once you tick that, the conflict screen will not come up anymore and then you have issues. Okay, so just always click OK, go back and make the changes required. Now as you can see here, let's add in, if we don't want to use this class anymore and we want to delete it, okay, we just click on delete button and voila. Okay, click OK, confirm your delete. Maybe you want to make changes, maybe you want to change George to John. Okay, you just do that, click save, and then voila, it changes. Okay, very straightforward. Now at any time that you want to see how the timetable is going, you can go in and you can check out these ones here. Okay, for example, we click on class, we take Bachelor of Business, okay, and voila, here they are down here on Sunday. Okay, same thing if we want to look at facility. Okay, we pick the first facility, block B. No classes here. One more thing that you probably notice is this little arrow here. At any time you can click on this and it takes you to the top of the screen, and this appears in all parts. And let's just go back to the master timetable. Okay, we click on Sunday, and these guys are in CR 1.2, so we go to facilities, click on CR 1.2, and voila. Okay, now anytime that you want to print these timetables out, you just click on Save as PDF. Okay, all printouts are saved as PDF. Make sure it is clicked on Save. If you want to click on Open, it's fine, but do never ever click on this button here, because once you click on this button, it remembers and it'll never let you to choose between save. Now this will allow me to save it to my desktop or my computer for me to print out later on. And when we click out that one there, it's filed. Okay, so let's have a look at it. Okay. Wow, and there's your timetable program there. And typically your logo would appear here, but for this demonstration we don't have the logo there. The other thing is too, it tells you when this timetable was last done, so people can identify which is the newest and the oldest timetable. So when you finish doing everything, you just go up here and you want to log out, just click on log out. Takes you to this screen and return back to your home page. You click on this one here and it takes you to your home page, and that is the end of the demonstration, and thank you very much for your time.